Oh yeah, because you went. Oh, you know, I had to take my kids to school, and then I was trying to get up there, so I drove. When I left, I didn't drive. It took me 2 hours. It was awful.
Well, we're right down the street. I got here about 108 south to about, no, 8 south to about 106 south. Both directions were move up here to Mayor Stop.
The traffic hit me right as you go south of downtown. It all just jammed up, and it was jammed up all the way to Bangor. And it took, I was sitting there. Yeah, and then when I went over Point of the Mountain, it jammed up again.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the American Fork City Council meeting for October the 11th of 2016. The agenda has been published as required by state law and listed on the state's website, and conspicuously posted throughout 3 locations throughout the community. We will follow the agenda as outlined. If you want to follow along, copies of which are on the table in the center of the room. We'd like to excuse Councilman Shelton this evening because he is out of town on employment reasons, so we'll be able to excuse him tonight. That means if there is a tie in the voting, the mayor has the privilege of breaking the tie. I'd also like to mention that we are having some software problems with our voting system, so I will be doing a voice vote with roll call this evening on all voting this evening. Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer by Councilman Barnes, after which time I will conduct a roll call. Would the audience please rise?
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, as we begin this American Fork City Council meeting, we acknowledge and thank Thee in all that we have and all that we are. We're grateful for our community, for the rich history that we enjoy, for those who have served in the past and brought us to where we are today. We're grateful for those who serve our community today, the mayor and the city council, for so many volunteers who give of their time and their efforts, and for the employees, for the dedicated individuals that they are. We're grateful for the blessings and the freedoms of this great country. We're mindful of those who serve to protect those freedoms in the military as well as our local police and others. We're grateful for the sacrifices made by them and so many others. For all that we enjoy, we acknowledge and give Thee thanks. And we ask that we might have a good meeting this evening, that the deliberations and discussions that need to take place will do so in an orderly and worthwhile fashion. We pray that those who feel they need to comment or participate might be able to do so in whatever capacity they speak. We thank Thee again for our many blessings. Pray for the others that Thou hast for us, and we do this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Councilman. I will now conduct a roll call. Councilman Barnes?
Present.
Councilman Bowen?
Present.
Councilman Frost?
Here.
Councilman Shorter?
Here.
Gentlemen, if you're here for scouting purposes, please sign in on the sheet in the middle of the room, please. Thank you. We have a quorum and can conduct the business of the community. We'd like to introduce these young men that are here for scouting purposes this evening. So if you're here to attend a meeting for a merit badge or a rank advancement, would you come forward and introduce yourself at this time, please? Don't be bashful. Come on, come on. You can bend that microphone over backwards so they can face the audience, please. Thank you.
My name is Wayne Jensen, and I'm a Scoutmaster of Troop 625.
It says
My name-
1628.
1625, what did I say? 1628. I must be dyslexic.
Okay.
My name's Ashton Geeting, and I'm from Troop 825.
Preston Tanner, 1628.
Thank you.
So high on the time. Easton Earl, 1181.
Shad Nielsen, 825.
My name is Matthew. 1238.
My name's Amwin Dean from 825.
Thank you.
Sup, I'm Alex Peterson from Troop 825.
Thank you.
Deegan Vardy from 1628.
Andrew Condor from 1181.
Matt Hawes from 1628.
Jacob Dean from 825.
Benjamin Rouse from 825. Evan Karen from 825.
Elias Keating from 825.
Rohit Abraham from 859.
Thank you.
Corbin Lovelace from 1181. Jacob Hansen from 1181.
My name is Justin Whiteower, and I'm from 1570.
Thank you.
Ben Belknap from 828.
Thank you. Gentlemen, we wish you well as you go along scouting's adventure trail. We would ask you when it comes time for get that life or that Eagle or that life rank and you're looking for an Eagle Scout project, consider some way you may assist the community in which you live. We've had a long, proud history of Eagle Scout projects in our community, and they do a very invaluable service to our community. Whether you're working at the cemetery or the library or one of our many parks, our recreation department, there's any number of jobs that you can do that will benefit the citizens of our community. If you don't want to work at the community, just look around your neighborhood and see what you can do. There's many things that need to be done that could benefit your neighbors, your ward, and the community as well. So again, we wish you much success and luck as you move forward, and we hope to be able, the mayor can send you all a letter and congratulating you on your Eagle Scout Award when that time comes. Thank you so much for being here this evening. Because you signed in on the paper, we have the correct spelling of your name and your troop number. Your name will be on the minutes of tonight's meeting. So if you have to prove to a counselor or advisor that you attended the meeting, bring up the city's webpage, look for the minutes of October the 11th, and you'll find your name in those minutes to prove to the council you did in fact attend. Thank you again for being with us this evening. Every meeting we set some time aside for public comment. If someone would like to make a comment regarding the mayor, the council, or the senior staff, you may do it at this time. We have one such request from Lee Rollins. We'd ask him to come forward and make his comments at this time.
My name's Lee Rawlings. I live at 223 West 400 South in American Fork, and I also own the duplex next door, 235 West 400 South. I'm here to discuss problems that the residents there along 400 South have had with the Leffler property, the development there. Councilman Barnes came down a couple weeks ago and visited with us. You have a packet of pictures. Sorry I didn't bring it up for everyone. Hopefully you can kind of see. But we can talk through some of the problems that we've had are have to do with the water system that was put in. The homes got new meters put in and new high pressure lines, which has resulted in like 4 water heaters having to be replaced, 3 water lines into homes having to be replaced, coupled with some pretty serious damage inside the home from those experiences. But overall, it's kind of just been a circus. For me personally, this is what the pictures are. That first picture is of a drain that's out in front of one of my homes. The drain does not work. The water coming down, it's got a deep gutter that's actually has served in the past as an irrigation ditch, which drains the water. When they put this in, it actually rose up and the water sat in the ditch and would never go down the drain. They worked on it a little bit and it's a little bit better, but the water still doesn't go down the drain all the way. Builds up trash right there, and it doesn't drain from the box either, so it's not installed properly. This is the picture. You can see my sprinklers there on the side of the curb as they have dug in there and worked on that. Across in front of my house, I've had to replace my sprinklers, fix my sprinklers 5 times during the summer, and it's still not fixed, as you can see. And as you thumb through some of those other pictures, you can see, again, pictures of they haven't came and finished. They dug it up. They fixed. I would expect them to come and fix it. The third picture is a picture of this edge of the sidewalk. There's still a deep gouge there to the side of the sidewalk. If someone comes along there, steps in that, twists their ankle, I think it's going to be the city who's going to be responsible for that. So I would maybe think about that. The last picture is a picture of a hole in my brush where they took out a bush and haven't done anything about it. So I guess representing the 16 residents on that street, unfortunately none of the other ones are here tonight, but we're just pretty frustrated with the project overall and how the residents have been treated in the process. And I guess my request to the council is that you not let the development progress until the residents are made whole. That's my comment.
I can give you some good news, sir. The irrigation water will be shut off this Friday, so you don't have to worry about those broken lines.
One small thing.
I will say this, that Geneva Rock historically has had a very good construction record in our community. Loeffler Park has seemed to have been the stepchild for Geneva Rock. I think we've gone through 4 different foremen on that project. The city hasn't been happy. The gentleman sitting behind you is Dale Goodman, our Public Works Director, and he has been out meeting with the residents trying to clean these things up because we have bond money that Geneva Rock put in for all of these improvements. And as you know, we've had trouble with telephone poles being in the middle of the road, can't lay asphalt. We finally got that resolved, and we're working to resolve that and hope to get some asphalt down before cold weather sets in. But we're aware of this, and Mr. Goodman has been working with that and has met with several of the neighbors. By putting in a larger pipe, we did not increase pressure. Pressure is the same.
Right.
However, you now have more volume coming through your meter because previously it was a 1/2-inch galvanized pipe and now it's a 1-inch poly pipe. So you're getting more volume, and I believe that may have been what's caused some of the problems. I think the city may have done a poor job in explaining to you what you could expect and encouraging you to get a pressure reducing valve installed inside of your home. That wasn't a building requirement at the time you had your building permit issued, but it is at the current standards. Also, the current standard requires an expansion tank on top of your water heater. I don't believe any of the residents down there had that. And if we didn't let you be aware of these things that could happen, that's our fault. And Mr. Goodman is meeting with the homeowners to seeing what action the city can take to rectify those residents. So, Mr. Goodman's behind you if you have specific questions, and he hasn't got to you yet. He will do.
Okay.
But I promise you, Geneva Rock's bond will not be released until those residents are satisfied with the work that has been completed.
Okay. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for your
Just,
time, Mr. Rollins.
Mayor, if I may, a comment or a question or two. Did they get the poles down? I was told they were going.
They've moved the lines that were there.
The lines
but
are
the
down.
poles are still there.
Okay, and the poles are still there. I just want this on public record. My understanding is everything was done except one line quite some time ago. All the other
That line
lines,
was American Fiber.
that was
Right.
AF Connect,
American Fiber.
or whoever you call it.
And-
And apparently they have held up a lot of the
Well,
work that
there's-
needed to be done.
There's some excuses on both sides, but we had a meeting in the mayor's office last week, and we gave them a certain amount of time to finish up, and they have been busting their backs to meet that requirement, and we have put some skin in the game to make sure it's taken care of, so.
I appreciate that. It was just that it seemed to be they were the holdup. And I know there's two sides to every story. Everything else, when I was down there, everything else looked ready except their line and getting those poles out so that Geneva could come in and do the asphalt and everything. So just want to make that comment, Mayor.
I understand. Thank you. Mr. Rollins, thanks so much, sir. Anyone else care to meet with discuss an issue with the mayor, the council, or the senior staff? Seeing none, we will close the public comment portion of our meeting and go on to the council reports concerning committee assignments. Mr. Barnes, would you start us off, please?
Nothing to report tonight, Mayor. I'm just wondering, is George back there? My computer's giving me fits, and wondered if I could get my friend to come help me. But I have nothing to report. No committee meetings lately.
We are getting ready to announce our Veterans Day program, sir. Isn't that the cemetery committee?
Well, we did talk about that last time, so I didn't have it down on tonight, so I apologize. But it will be again on November the 11th at 11 a.m.
At the Tabernacle.
At the Tabernacle, at the Church, American Fork Tabernacle. There will be some music from the high school, and there is a thing I noticed on the door for the speech contest. When I visited with the elementary school principals and invited them and their fifth graders to come to the program, I mentioned that we would have the winners of that speech contest, and I got 5 blank stares out of 5 elementary schools. Maybe it's something we can talk about separate, but we probably ought to see if we can't get a way to get the word out to the elementary schools a little better for them.
Well, it's not the elementary schools, it's junior high and high schools, and the word goes out through the Alpine School District Educators Association.
I thought it was 4th graders and 7th graders or something, but I may be wrong. Okay.
No. Councilman Bowen.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder about the upcoming Scarecrow competition, the 2nd annual one for American Fork City. So the Beautification Committee sponsors this kind of in conjunction also with our local businesses and residents, whoever wants to be involved. But basically you can send an email to afscarecrow@gmail.com to be entered. And the businesses, what they did last year is they created scarecrows and put them out in front of their businesses here on Main Street that maybe reflected a little bit of the theme of their business or whatever they wanted. And this year we've opened it up to residents also, so if they want to be included in the competition, they can bring their scarecrow down on Saturday, October 29th in the morning and leave it there through the day, and it'll be judged. And then the businesses have chipped in just little prizes and stuff like that. So it's just a great opportunity to enjoy the fall. And also if you want to enjoy Main Street while you're down there and see what other people have done with their scarecrows, it's just a lot of fun that way also. That's the only thing I had to report, Mayor.
Thanks, Councilman Bowen. Councilman Frost?
I'd like to report I attended a ribbon cutting in the last week or so for Home Goods. And it was very unique in the fact that there were people lined up and people to try to get first in line, and there was great incentive, and I had no idea of how important Home Goods is to many women within this state of Utah because we cut the ribbon and I quickly learned to get out of the way. And so, but it was very productive. We wished them well, and I couldn't help but think that from what I saw on the opening hour that business is not going to thrive. It was just that well attended. Outside of that, I would just report that economic development, we're going to have a work session item in the next 2 weeks, and there's just a lot of neat things that are beginning to materialize with economic development. I think that the synergy appears to be down in the TOD zone, in that area down there. And so anyway, I don't want to, there's not any secrets about it, except that good growth and good development just seems to be knocking on our door right now with the economics the way they are and just the great place American Fork is to live. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Thanks for that report, Councilman Frost. Councilman Shorter.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to report on the American Fork Symphony. Met last night and had a program, Classic Chills and Current Thrills. It's a great program. It's $5 per person or $15 for a family. It's a great program. Their artists are superb. They really do a good job. They volunteer to do that. And it was a great program last night at the junior high. It was conducted by Dr. Adam Lambert. And they had some Ghostbuster themes and some Halloween music. And again, they do a great job. They're volunteers, and it was just an excellent concert. So encourage you when those come out to keep an eye on the American Fork website and support our symphony and Wasatch Winds and the other arts that we have in the city. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. The symphony will perform a Christmas concert the first Monday in December, and that will be Christmas-based, and it's always fun to do when you play some of those, the night before Christmas, and some of those that are old favorites. It's always good to be there and participate with that. That's good. For the mayor's report, I would like to just announce that the long-awaited Black Bear Diner will open a week from yesterday, the 17th. The Black Bear Diner opens. We'll do a ribbon cutting later on, but this is their soft opening, training their staff and their cooks and their help to accommodate the public. So if you haven't had a Black Bear Diner experience, when you go, take your appetite, take your wife, and only buy one, because they'll feed you enough to feed both of you with one platter. So we encourage you that way. That's the mayor's report. We'll now go on to the common consent agenda. Our common consent agenda tonight includes the approval of the September 27, 2016 City Council minutes, approval of the city bills for payment, manually prepared checks and purchase requests over $25,000, approval of a partial release for the performance guarantee bond in the amount of $83,278.55 for Ashley Meadows subdivision located approximately 900 North and 900 West, approval of an authorization to release the improvement construction guarantee in the amount of $295,800.01 and issue a notice of acceptance for the Autumn Crest Plat A construction of public improvements located at 1000 North and 1000 East. Approval and authorization to release the improvement construction guarantee in the amount of $81,291.43 and issue a notice of acceptance for the Autumn Crest Plat B subdivision and construction of public improvements located at 1060 North and 1050 East. Approval of the authorization to release the improvements construction guarantee in the amount of $222,148.80 and issue a notice of acceptance for Dick's Sporting Goods construction of public improvements located at 841 West Pacific Drive. And we have approval and authorization to release the improvement construction guarantee in the amount of $280,522.14 and issue a notice of acceptance for the Eddington Estates construction of public improvements located at 900 West and 900 North. The item 8 on there talks about a release of performance guarantee bond in the amount of $312,000 for Mira Vista Plats B and C, and I don't have a completion of the paperwork on that, so I'm going to pull number 8 off of tonight's common consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the common consent agenda as read?
So moved, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Frost. And a second.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Shorter. Again, we're having some problem with some software issues, and therefore I will do a voice vote count this evening. Councilman Barnes.
Yay.
Councilman Bowen.
Abstain.
Councilman Frost. Aye. Councilman Shelton is absent. Councilman Shorter.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. We will approve the common consent agenda as read. Our action items this evening include the following. Review of a provisional approval for the naming of 150 East Street from approximately 550 North to 650 North as Star Mill Lane. Again, this is the provisional approval. In work session last Thursday, the young lady that wanted to make this change presented it to us. This provisional approval now allows us to announce this in the paper and to go out for public comment for a period of 30 days.
Mayor, I would move approval to move I would move to grant provisional approval and authorize staff to continue the process for the naming of 150 East from approximately 550 North to 650 North to be Star Mill Lane.
Thank you for that motion, Councilman Bowen. Is there a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, I will do a roll call vote. Councilman Barnes.
Aye.
Councilman Bowen.
Yes.
Councilman Frost. Aye. Councilman Shelton is absent. Councilman Shorter.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. Moving on. Action item number 2, review and action on a resolution approving an interlocal agreement with the Utah County and other Utah County cities for the establishment of an intergovernment program to be known as the Utah County Major Crimes Task Force. For the purpose of the public, this is something that we have supported in our community for the last 8 years. We place 2 officers in this group, and they are very effective in curtailing the drug traffic that comes throughout the county, and we have our share of it here in American Fork. In fact, I learned that today that we were successful in taking over 20 pounds of methamphetamine from one of our residents in the city as a result of the Major Crimes Task Force. This is agreement with most of the communities throughout Utah County. It is not a binding agreement. We get out of it any time that we want, but we find the effort that we receive for the cost that it cost us is a very good asset to have. Any questions on this? I can have Chief Falsleff answer your questions.
Mayor, I had just one question. This basically looks like it's a continuation
It
of
is.
exactly what we've done in the
boilerplate
past. There are
we've
no
had for
changes.
The last eight years.
No changes other than it looks like they want it more formal every year from now on.
They do. Attorneys seem to need that to justify their salary, sir.
They get paid by the hour. That's why they do it. Okay, thank you.
And they're also paid by the word.
Or by the second.
You'll
yeah.
notice only one guy's smiling, and that happens to be Councilor
There's 2
Wright.
guys smiling. Amen.
You notice they're not objecting. They know it's true.
Are you making a motion then, Councilman Barnes?
Yes. I move to approve the resolution. Since nobody has any questions, I move to approve the resolution to enter into an interlocal agreement with Utah County and other Utah County cities for the establishment of an intergovernmental program known as the Utah County Major Crimes Task Force.
Thank you for that motion, Councilman Barnes. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Shorter. Any questions on this motion?
I just had a little discussion, Mayor. I'm certainly not opposed to cooperating on major crimes enforcement and with other departments and jurisdictions as appropriate. In reviewing this agreement, I noticed one of their major funding mechanisms is asset forfeiture. In my experience with this over the past, just for these scouts that are here, I'll take just a minute and explain this just a little bit. So in our Constitution, to be deprived of life or property, you have to be found guilty by a jury of your peers or by a judge, the defendant's choice, is how it's supposed to be. And that's actually a great Republican principle. The jury actually represents us as a people at large when they decide whether someone's guilty or innocent. So that's a Republican mechanism, just like how we're representing citizens as city councilmen and the mayor is, and your Utah state legislatures and on up. That's all representation. That's our form of government as a democratic republic. And so this is important. Asset forfeiture is when assets are seized, when property is basically taken. And my concern is constitutionally is in the past that has been taken without a jury or a judge finding someone guilty. And this was an issue about 10 years ago. There was a petition drive actually throughout the state that basically banned asset forfeiture. But that went into effect. But then a few years later, that was watered down and changed, from what I understand. So I've talked to Chief Falsev, and I appreciate his input on this. He says that in this case, for the Major Crimes Task Force, he assures me that there's not asset forfeiture without a judge or a jury finding. That's not my previous experience, so I have some concerns there. So I'm going to abstain on this vote, but I wanted to explain why I'm abstaining. It's just because I want to be 100% sure that we're not implementing a mechanism that basically is incentivizing seizing people's property without going through finding of guilt, and that taking of property being part of the punishment basically imposed by that judge or jury. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, I have a motion and a second. I'll call for a vote. Voice vote. Councilman Barnes?
Yes.
Councilman Bowen?
Abstain.
Councilman Frost?
Aye.
Councilman Shelton is absent. Councilman Shorter?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Action item number 3. Review action on an ordinance approving a zone map amendment located at 747 West, 200 South of approximately 18.111 acres from the RA1 Residential Agricultural Zone to the TOD, Transient Oriented Development Zone. The TOD zone is that area around the Front Runner Station on 200 South and approximately 700 West in American Fork. That is the zone they want to do. This is the piece of property that is being considered. You'll notice the piece in the PI1, or the public facility zone above it. That is the Front Runner parking lot and the station for the Front Runner. This is adjacent to it.
Mayor, I'd move to adopt the ordinance approving a zone map amendment located at 747 West, 200 South of approximately 18.111 acres from the RA1 Residential Agricultural Zone to the TOD Transit Oriented Development Zone.
I thank you for that motion, Councilman Shorter. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Frost. Any questions on this motion?
Just one quick question. I believe in our packet that we received in preparation for the meeting that I saw an application for this change from the petitioner, who's typically the landowner. In this case, the petitioner appeared to be a construction company. Is the construction company the owner in this case?
Brad Reynolds is the owner of the property, yes.
Excellent. I figured that was the case. Just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Yes, sir. No further discussion. I will call for
Mayor.
a voice vote on the
Mayor.
zone map amendment.
I was looking for something. I finally found it. I just had one question. In the minutes from the Planning Commission, it talks about 23.5 acres versus the 11 something that's there, and I'm just wondering what the difference is.
Yeah.
I hope I asked that
Mr. Knobloch
question.
explained that this was approximately 23.5 acres and would be the first parcel in the Trans-Oriented Development. Were you not familiar with the number of acres exactly, or? Sir?
In the
I put in 18.111 acres. I took it off of the property.
No, that's, I think I misspoke on the
Okay.
that was my question. Which one is the accurate?
This is correct.
This is correct.
The 18.11 is correct. Are you Mr. Reynolds?
Yes, I am.
Happy to meet you, Brad.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Likewise.
Did you get your name in the minutes of the meeting, sir? Okay. 18.111 is correct. I have a motion and a second. I'll take a voice vote. Councilman Barnes.
Aye.
Councilman Bowen.
Aye.
Councilman Frost.
Aye.
Councilman Shelton is absent. Councilman Shorter.
Aye.
Thank you. It's unanimous. Vote carries. Item 4 on our agenda is review and action on subdivisions, commercial projects, condominiums, and planned unit developments, including 1, plat approval, 2, method of satisfaction of water rights requirements, 3, posting of an improvement bond or setting of a time frame for an improvement installation, and 4, authorization to sign the final plat and acceptance of all dedications to the public and to have the plat recorded. We have 2 such items this evening. Number 4A, review and action on an amended final plat for Green Springs Towns planned unit development consisting of 67 units and 2 commercial lots located approximately 150 North West State Road in the SC1 Planned Shopping Center and the R475 residential zones. This, we approved Green Springs Towns some time ago, but with the 2 out parcels that were being done for commercial projects, there had to be some redefining of some lot lines, and I think that this is a rework of that original plat. Is that not correct, Mr. Olson?
This is the second amended plat. What this does is it increases the private area behind some of the units on the south side
Okay.
to bring them more in line with the private area throughout the rest of the property.
All right.
Mayor, I'd move to approve the final plat of the Green Springs Towns PUD, consisting of 67 units and 2 commercial lots located approximately 150 Northwest State Road in the SC1 Planned Shopping Center and the R4 7,500 residential zones, to authorize the mayor and city council to sign the plat and accept the dedications with instructions to the city recorder to withhold recording of the plat and publications of the ordinance, subject to all conditions identified in the public record associated with the September 21st, 2016 Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you for that motion, Councilman Shorter. Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Councilman Bowen, for the second. Any questions on this motion? Hearing none, I will conduct a voice vote count. Please, Councilman Barnes.
Aye.
Councilman Bowen.
Yes.
Councilman Frost.
Aye.
Councilman Shelton is absent. Councilman Shorter.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. Going on to item 4B. That is review and action on an ordinance approving a commercial site plan for the Perry Flex Development located at 729 East, 280 South in the GC2 General Commercial Zone. This is the area immediately behind the Vasa Gym, which is a Perry property. Or is this the Vasa property itself, Adam?
This is Perry. This is east of there.
Okay. Are there questions of the council on this item?
Mayor,
This is actually the property behind the Big O Tire store, isn't it? Okay. And they are proposing 2 retail warehouse structures that will have a building footprint of about 5,000 square feet and 43,258 square feet respectively. Okay.
Mayor, I'd move to adopt the ordinance approving a commercial site plan for the Perry Flex development located at 792 East, 280 South in the GC2 General Commercial Zone, with instructions to the city recorder to withhold publication of the ordinance subject to all conditions identified in the public record associated with the September 21st, 2016 Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you for that motion. Councilman Frost, is there a second? Second. Seconded by Councilman Barnes. Any questions on the Perry Flex development? Hearing none, I'll take a voice vote, please. Councilman Barnes.
Aye.
Councilman Bowen.
Yes.
Councilman Frost.
Aye.
Councilman Shelton is absent. Councilman Shorter.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Moving on, item 5, review and action on amendments to the trail cross-section. We found that we didn't have everything there because the trails and roads cross-section have to be put together, so I would ask that this item be pulled and added to a future agenda. Item 6, review and action on a betterment agreement with UDOT for improvements for the 200 East Main Street realignment project. This was discussed in a work session previously. We've now had the city engineer work with UDOT, and we've got an actual figure for the total amount, and it's the city agrees to put $136,510 into the plan that UDOT has to do those betterments in the area of 3rd East to 2nd East in the form of lighting, landscaping, and other amenities to improve that corridor.
And for discussion at this point, Mayor.
Let's get a motion first, and then we'll discuss it.
Mayor, I'd move to approve the betterment agreement with the State of Utah Department of Transportation for improvements on the 200 East Main Street realignment project.
Thank you for that motion, Councilman Frost. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Shorter. Now we will have discussion on the motion.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wondering, do we have a finalized plan on this? Is this the is this the intersection right there where the Wells Fargo Bank is and the
Yes,
Central
sir.
Bank
Yes,
and all
sir.
that?
Yes, sir.
I don't believe I've seen the finalized plan. I know we had several different options presented by
Yeah,
UDOT.
we did, about the left turn lane coming off of Main Street.
Yeah, so I would want to see the final plan before I vote to put in money on it, because otherwise I don't know what we're voting to put money in on.
Can you address that, Mr. Gallo, or do we need to get Audra here?
I have Lars Anderson.
Oh, you got Lars here. Come on up and talk to us, Lars.
Hello, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Lars Anderson with PEC. We're the firm that's designing the intersection for you and for UDOT. Currently, there will be left turns allowed from State Street onto Main Street. However, it's still undetermined if there will be left turns onto 200 East. Currently, we're showing a curb to prevent those left turns because that's what the UDOT manual requires. They're modeling the intersection to see if there's any possible way they can allow those left turns onto 200 East. It's not looking good, but they're trying. They did allow the left turns onto Main Street, however, which was a change from the previous plan where they said it would be right in, right out only.
Yeah.
As far as the landscape goes, which is what this is concerning, this includes trees, landscape. UDOT is paying for irrigation, topsoil, all the base plane materials, stamped concrete, and the city is paying for everything above that, the street lights, the shrubs, everything else that goes in there. So that's the difference.
And we're also getting some underground utilities put in so that eventually we can build those towers.
Yes, the
on each
conduits.
side of the entrance to our community, so.
Correct.
That will accommodate that. Maybe we need Lars to add one of those wonderful things like UDOT did on 123rd. If you want to go north on the frontage road, you have to go a half mile east, do a U-turn and come back to make your free right turn.
We did actually design those, but
well, my hell, I hope you're happy, Lars.
Well,
I cuss you every time my wife wants to go to Coles.
We did that for you to help you turn left better. No comment.
Question. If what I heard is there's still discussion on the turn lanes.
Yes, we're
It's
going.
not looking good, but there's still discussion.
Yes.
So this other stuff, the betterments that you're talking about, do they impact those lanes at all?
No, this is for the pocket park that's shown in
This
the Main
is
Street
just
vision.
that park, and there's no question where that's going to be and what its footprint is.
Correct. It also includes powder coating of the signals at 300 East, where the new signal will be. It includes trees from 300 East and streetlights all the way to 150 East.
But this is not the final plan for the road.
Correct. Not the final plan for the road
For the
could,
lanes, for
could
the
have
lanes.
minor modifications. We're going to UDOT on Friday with our plans, and then they have to go through the review process to finalize.
By pocket park, you're talking about basically that kind of triangular median in between the merge of Main Street or 50 South and State Street, right?
Yes,
Highway
because the
connect.
Main Street portion of that will be removed as part of the project.
Yeah, I just feel that this is premature. I'm not necessarily opposed to chipping in some money on the betterments, and even though it's UDOT's project, I just feel like it's premature. I'd like to see the final design
Is
first.
there a time frame where we have to commit to this money, Lars, or we?
Yes, they want you to commit prior to PS&E with plan specs and estimate, because if you don't commit, then they'll pull all of those items from the plan set. So this essentially allows you to put in, to have the UDOT contractor install all the things that you want included, so it's essentially less expensive to have one contractor do it
So
all.
we need to commit even before we see the final plan.
Mayor, I want to do that anyway. That left turn is a questionable one, and I worry about having a short lane there and having just people piling. It's not a good place. They can go down and do a U-turn and come back to go up 200 East. It's
Yeah.
not that uncomfortable, and rather than have people stack up there, but then they're already stacked up there bad enough right now as it is. I don't know if that has to stop us from going forward on this.
Okay.
So
I have a motion and a second.
But when you say you need it before plans, specs, and what you mean is before you release your final plan, right?
Before they'll release us past the PSNE, which is this Friday, we have to have that commitment. Otherwise, we can't move forward with the project.
Okay.
Because they'll pull all those betterments
So we have
out
a
of the
timeline.
plans.
We're up against a timeline.
Yeah.
So we put our money up and hope and pray it meets our expectations.
Yeah, and fortunately, in the agreement, it does talk about meeting your expectations and still working with staff, obviously, to make
All
that
right.
happen.
Very good. I have a motion and a second. I will call for a vote. By name, Councilman Barnes.
I'll vote aye, but I have some real hesitation. But there's a thing called the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. And they own the road, and they own this and that, and they've got the gold. So I think we've got to go with it. Would that be correct?
But Main Street, east of State Street, is a city road, and we control that. So I think we have one extra card in the deck that UDOT doesn't have. Councilman Bowen.
Nay.
Councilman Frost. Councilman Shelton is absent. Councilman Shorter.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Mayor, I might add, I was part of the Main Street Vision. I maybe had a little more of a detailed heads up on some of these betterments as well. And so I felt comfortable. These are enhancements that will make it aesthetically pleasing as people come through. It's kind of the beginning portion of the Main Street corridor. And I think it will set a precedence from there all the way through the Main Street corridor. And so I think you'll be real pleased with them.
Plus, when they can crash into the park. It'll be a lot more pleasant sitting in the park.
Oh. Item 7 on our agenda this evening is adjournment. What everyone came tonight to see. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Mayor, I move that we adjourn.
Thank you, Councilman Bowen, for that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Frost. Any questions on this motion? I will do with one single voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We are adjourned.
Hey, Scouts, this is a real early meeting. We're sorry we didn't keep you here a little bit longer.